Hello, this is a quick guide to the Lake of Shadows Grandmaster Nightfall. This Grandmaster Nightfall has anti-barrier and unstoppable champions, also arc threat, so make sure you got the arc resist mods on. However, there are a lot of types of damage in this, so I'd recommend all resist, to be honest. There is also Strand, Surge and Solar Surge this week, so solar weapons are very good for your heavies for doing damage to the boss, especially if you're trying to melt the boss very quickly, if you're not doing the cheese. I will be showing the cheese strat, but not everyone's going to be doing that. Some people will be able to sit at the bottom and just melt them. But I'm using a Celestial Nighthawk Gunslinger, got Wish Hand of Anti-Barrier. The Blinding Grenade Launcher is very handy on the Tormentor, which I'll show later. And I've got a Solar Rocket for damage. We're bringing 2 Cenotaph Warlocks, so boss with a Cenotaph. Solar Rocket for damage, Hand Cannon for Unstoppable. Reops bringing the same thing, but Dragon's Breath for the rocket and an Unstoppable Hand Cannon. So when we get to the boss room, there's like 3 different ways of getting into the cheese spot, so I'll show all of those. But if you choose not to, you can just melt the boss as long as you've got enough DPS, and that's what the Cenotaphs are really handy for, making sure that you get enough heavy ammo drops. So that when you get to the boss room, you've got full heavy. Because it's not as easy of a melt as it used to be. It used to be very free, but they did buff the boss's health a couple of times. Still pretty easy melt, but not as easy as it used to be for sure. This part here, the ads spawn based on how far forward the payload is, so you can take it really slowly if you want to. You don't have to like rush it, you can go slow a little bit at a time. Especially because your warlocks aren't going to have their supers yet. If you do have an Invis Hunter, you could just stay on the payload, Invis the whole way, and detonate it at the end. That is another strategy as well. But you do want to make sure you've killed the champions. We killed everything though, so easy finish. But when you detonate, it does kill a lot of the ads as well. I think some of them stay alive from memory, but at the very least we'll let you progress. Alright, since we have 2 Well of Radiance Warlocks, they can kind of chain wells a little bit. I'm not going to get all the super energy back, so they're not running Phoenix or anything, but decent for the most part. There's a few waves of ads here, got a couple of waves of Cabal, but after we've dealt with them, we'll get the Taken spawn as well. Go. Plenty of heavy, which is great. I want to be careful coming around this corner, because we're going to have the turrets. So we're going to actually sit back a bit and get off the payload as it gets closer. We'll get these spawns here. So we want to deal with these groups. The big guy there. And then we'll slowly make our way around the corner and deal with the turrets from afar. We've got a couple of turrets. There's one in the back on the bus, there's another one behind the box, and one up on the right there. Go. Probably spam heavy. I've got so much on the ground. There'll be another turret around the corner, and we have one in the back there as well. When we get the payload closer, we're going to get taken spawn in the middle here. Looks like they've already taken care of that turret. Gonna grab the heavy while I can. I'm gonna get a Cabal spawn where they are. Yeah, there's a champ with them as well that we have to be careful of. He comes around on the right, there he is, anti-barrier. Alright, there's a few ways of dealing with the meatball here. You can go slowly and just stay away from him, and the ads spawn based on a health gate, so you can just slowly do it, but otherwise if you wanted to you can melt him a bit. And luckily we've got well of radiances, so we can choose those to stay alive when all the ads are up. Alright. Watch out for these, they do a lot of damage. Go. Detonate this. While that's happening, I'm just going to go back for the other heavy. I had plenty back here as well. Yeah, the blinding nade's been handy so far. Not great, but handy on a couple of the ads. That's really, really good on the Tormentor. You can keep him blind the whole time, because he doesn't count as a boss. I would highly recommend at least have one person on blinding just for the Tormentor, unless you're going to use like stasis turrets or something else. Just kind of need to think about something for that room. You have to keep in mind that he does suppress and things like that with some of his attacks, so you can't just use supers on him. A Well of Radiance obviously is going to work well, but don't expect to be able to annihilate him just with a strand by yourself, with a strand titan. Unless you're really good at getting the combos off. I mean, because you can suspend him a bit, because he isn't a boss. You probably could do that. As long as you can melt him in time. Now here we've got to be careful of the ship that's going to spawn. It's going to come over the top. As soon as you walk forward, I think about here is when the ship will start coming. There it is. Now this ship here, Thresher, you can't actually shoot the turret off it like you can some of the other ships. You just have to destroy it. You can blind it though. Hitting it with a blinding nade, like right there, does actually blind it, so it stops shooting at you. Really cool trick. Should have been doing that from the start. We'll get another ship here as well. If I go a bit forward here, I think, is when the ship will spawn. There it is. For these enemies, you can stay back here if you've got long range weapons, or get a bit closer on the left. Just have to be careful, we've got a couple of champs back there, we've got to unstop, and then these guys here can get really annoying. If we've got a Well of Radiance, might be alright. You just don't want them to hit you, obviously. Some of the heavy might have fallen off, unfortunately. Now another champion around the corner. stay here as well and kill the enemies up there on the left. Because there'll be another Colossus on the right when we go around the corner. And be careful of. Man. These times, I wish I had shoot to loot on. Seeing a lot of heavy go down there. We don't want to go in too fast. You can have all these ads on the left shoot you while Colossus and flaming dudes on your right. Kind of just use this as cover. Get all the ads on the left first and then take care of the anti-barrier. If I finish this guy, I'll give them both ammo. Oh, come on. Hopefully they've got ammo. I don't have a lot of special, which is worrying. It's gonna be a sec. So I'll look around. Don't think we got any. So I don't have a lot of blinding for this guy. God. See, we all want to run in here together so that no one gets joining allies. We get boss to pop the first wall. Oh my god, he dodged. I didn't see the div bubble on him. My last blinding. Should be finishable though. Because he's not a boss, he does get finishable. Luckily. Yeah, we hadn't killed the other crit on him, so his div bubble wasn't working properly. Should have shot the crits first. But yeah, as you saw, he's a major, so he doesn't count as a boss. You can blind him, you can suspend him, you can freeze him. So there's a lot of different ways you can deal with him. That was pretty scuffed, but as you can see, I had enough blinding to keep him semi at bay most of the time, but you could have someone just spamming blinding grenades at him the whole time. Makes it easy as well. Or, you know, Strand Titan and just suspend. Have to be careful here. I don't want that to start it accidentally. Or you'll fire. Okay. So we want to show the cheese spot. So cheese spot is up there. Now there's a few ways to get there. The most common way is by jumping up on this pipe on the right. There's a little ledge here. Now, if you got enough mobility on the hunter, it kind of sucks that it's dark right now. It's hard to see. But if you go like on the edge of the dam and then like straight up the wall, might have to turn your brightness up. There's a little ledge you can mantle, and then you can jump from here onto the roof, run along the roof to where you got this little ledge. It sucks that it's nighttime, makes it really hard to see. I'd recommend practicing this in a non-Grandmaster version where you don't have revives before doing it in the Grandmaster. So that's one way. That way is easier for Warlocks. The other way is grabbing on that ledge there. Now that one can be a bit harder, especially if you're not confident at the jumping, but yeah, mantling onto this ledge. You can either jump from here straight to where Reops is, or another one is going straight above you. There's a beam. You can jump onto that beam, and then get over to Reops. One of those ways is usually the easiest on a Warlock, but if you're having trouble with either of those ways, the easiest way probably for a Hunter to go is starting down the bottom, straight underneath kind of where they are. We've got these windows. You can jump from the first window up onto this like broken part, up into the top parts of the window. Then we're going around to this cross beam. Now from here, there's an invisible wall above our heads, so you can't like jump up onto this pipe here. It only goes away over there, kind of where that like bit of concrete is a bit scuffed. So you're kind of aiming for that over there. Sorry, my character's sliding. So I'm aiming for that. So this is hard on a Warlock because it's hard to like not hit your head on the invisible wall and fall straight down. So on a Hunter it's easier because you can kind of jump outwards and over to it. And then up here. So I find that way easier on a Hunter. But then the other ways on a Titan and Warlock. Now that we're up here, a few things. So when you're standing, there's a middle beam that I'm standing on. It's kind of hard to see. It's really, really dark. When you're standing behind the metal beam, you know, it's kind of good cover from being shot, but you can still get flamed from the knight, especially the one that spawns below you there. He shoots fire up and can flame you here. Also, if you're standing here and you're like, oh, cool, I can see the boss and I can shoot him with my rocket. If you shoot right now, it'll kill yourself. It hits the beam if you're standing here and shoot it. You have to jump onto the beam to shoot down. Trust. Found that out the hard way. But for the Warlocks, it's good to pop your well behind the beam, so when you jump up, you're not shooting your own well. And then we should be able to melt the boss. Let's go. Boss first well. If your wells run out, you can kind of like run around to the side and hide a little bit. As you can see, rockets still do a ton of damage to him. He has hit us with one of these, but no big deal. So whether you go for the cheese spot or go for the melt, either's good. If you're going for the melt, probably being a galley and things like that. Also, it's kind of easier to hit the rockets when you're closer to them. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you all next time. Bye. Thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more. Special thanks to our channel members City, Burnt Toast and Jetty Finn for their continued support.